6 behaviors of why you may be poor or not have enough money and how to get rich. And there are just a couple of behavioral corrections that people need to make. And if this is of interest to you, then this is the video to watch. If you're here for the first time, I'm Dr. Omar Khan, a physician and a founder of True Talent Online, and having launched tech businesses, especially healthcare telemedicine applications, and I've helped startups get off the ground. I want to share some of my mistakes that I've made so that you don't end up repeating my mistakes. And subscribe if you think you will need to more about these topics. So guys, I agree, being broke is tough as hell, but it just requires a proper mindset to have a stable financial future or possibly retire at a young age. But just make sure that you are in this process 110%. Are you? If yes, then let's go. So the Federal Reserve here in the US says that if you have at least $400 saved up for an emergency, you are already better off financially than about a third of all Americans. Now, I actually consider that to be an awful statistic that a third of Americans actually don't have $400 saved up. The reason is that most people don't actually do a good job managing their money. And having a good relationship with money doesn't mean that you have to be very rich or make a lot of money. It just means that you make wiser decisions more often and you just don't make a lot of bad decisions. So what are some of the most common reasons why people are broke and how you can avoid them? Make sure you're not making these mistakes that could keep you broke forever. Number one is failure to create a budget is a huge factor in people's financial problems. Yes, lack of budgeting is actually one of the main reasons people are broke. And only 41% of Americans, according to the Bank of America, actually stick to a budget. The issue is that if you don't keep track of your income and expenses, it might be difficult to determine how much money you actually spend on certain items. This is so crucial because whenever you receive your paycheck, you end up making a few purchases, and then at the end of the month, you're wondering where all of your money went. And some people actually dislike budgeting because it makes them, uncomfortable to have to record their income and all of the outgoing costs on a spreadsheet. But doing so can be highly beneficial, particularly for those, looking to manage their finances. Number two mistake is that people don't have clear plans for their money. Every choice you make should be based on your financial goals. When you are setting your financial goals, you give your future a direction. For example, if you want to be debt-free in 2 to 3 years, that's a clear, specific goal that you can use to make plan to help you reach that goal. So if you don't want to be broke, the first thing you should do is set a goal for financial stability. But whatever the goals are, for example, let's say saving $20,000 or purchasing a new home or paying cash for a new car, you have to set a clear and distinct goal so you can plan accordingly. Number three mistake people make is that people don't prepare for bad events to occur in the future. Guys, we know life is too uncertain, and this can be a clear issue because 1/3 of Americans do not have even $400 to handle an emergency situation. Unexpected expenses frequently happen, and $400 is not nearly a large enough sum of money for any kind of emergency or any unexpected event. And the question always is, what if you lose your job? What if your dentures require repair? If you are not prepared, you will need to find other means to pay for that typical $400 unforeseen purchase and end up charging it to your credit card even though you don't have any money in your bank. And when you don't have money in your bank and you charge your credit card, and now when interest rates are so high these days, you end up getting into credit card debt, and now it will be difficult for you to pay off any of that debt. The fourth mistake that people make is individuals don't plan for the future but spend on recreational activities and hobbies. So finding the ideal balance between your future planning and having fun is of course essential. You don't want to have fun all the time that you don't plan for the future. You should want to make wise decisions that allow you to enjoy life while you're young and also save up money for the future. So let's refrain from developing costly habits. The fact that people have expensive habits is one factor that prevents the poor from actually getting rich. Take, for example, smoking is one costly habit that most people don't understand that costs a lot of money. And not only smoking, but people get into alcoholism and drugs even if they don't have enough money to spend for it. Frankly, it is all a waste of money. Be careful. Now, the fifth mistake people make and keeps them broke is people spend money in order to impress others. How stupid could that be? Despite the absurdity of this, many individuals act and think in this manner. And it frequently happens and we know all about it. People frequently make expensive purchases and they believe that if they appear wealthy, other people would be envious and be impressed by them, look good, right? So the truth is that while spending a lot of money on appearances, it may make you happy momentarily, but this euphoria won't last long. Long after those people's initial impressions for you are gone, that purchase can end up wasting a lot of your money, which you don't have currently. Now, number 6 and the last is people owe a large debt. They can't get out of this. Every loan is different, but keep in mind that there are 2 different types of debt. A mortgage on a rental property home to rent out is an example of good debt. It helps you generate money or income while you leverage and borrow money from the bank. And this is how you could potentially build your wealth while investing in real estate, and having the bank helps you get this type of good debt. The second is an example of a bad debt, which people often get stuck into. People accumulate bad types of debt while purchasing costly items that don't bring any money, and these are all called liability. This includes the majority of items that may be purchased, let's say, for example, vehicles that you actually don't need, clothing, trips, vacations that you can't afford, and other such items that you can easily swipe and use a credit card and get your payments done. And when you accumulate bad debt, not only do the products lose value, of course, over time, but you also pay interest rather than actually earning any money on these products. Additionally, people can get into debt while purchasing items they cannot afford, which they do not have the means to buy. For instance, if a person wants to purchase a new car but is unable to pay cash for it, they may decide to finance it and acquire more debt. They will be paying interest to the bank and the lender, and the fact that the car's value is rapidly declining, it is going to be too much for them to bear in the long run. And as the old saying, the poor pay the price, the poor remain poor. Another problem that I normally see with people is that they put some money together and they put it in the bank and they just leave it in the bank. That doesn't do you any good. The interest rate that you're getting at the bank does not cover inflation at all. So just don't let your money stay in the bank. Find investments. Keep on the lookout for investments that you can put that money into that will help your money grow. And you must regularly invest your money for longer periods of time to actually see the benefits. You invest money, take it out after the year when the market has dropped or bottomed, then you actually lose all that money. You don't gain anything. Be patient. Invest the money that you know you will put away, and you actually don't need to use that money, but that money needs to grow over 10, 20 years. And remember, guys, when you allocate a tiny portion of each paycheck towards your investments, investing would be simple and easy for you. You don't have to think about it. By doing so, you can invest frequently without having to worry about losing track of your funds, and a percentage always keeps on going into your investments. So possibly set up automatic deposits into investment accounts. Otherwise, you are far less likely to invest when you have to make a decision every week or let's say every month. So the majority of people are broke because they misuse their money for things that are not actually useful for them, while they should be investing money for the long run. And investments get you rich. Your salary will not get you rich. And although there are exceptions, if you observe how typical poor people behave, you will see that this is generally the case, that they do not use their money wisely and they don't go for investments. But the good news is that it is never too late to change these bad behaviors when it comes to managing your money. And of course, discipline is the key. And particularly, everyone can make improvements to their circumstances if they develop a proper mindset and behaviors towards financial stability. Now, the question is, do you want to be broke and remain poor in the future? I definitely don't think so. And if you're really interested, watch this video on passive income ideas that you can start from today. And of course, subscribe to the channel. Thank you so much. Talk to you guys soon.